Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your service. Now, yes, we're wearing the MacDonald. It's a Donald of the Mac variety. It's a MacDonald. Not a burger, it's a tartan. Now, it's some sad news really. The news broke late last night about veteran actor, classic actor, Rutger Hauer passed away. Dutch actor. Famously, his blonde hair, his piercing blue eyes, great character actor. He died after a short illness at the age of 75, which these days is nothing. That's nothing. You know, you've got Stallone, who starred opposite him, you know, still making movies. In fact, I'm fighting fit, and poor Rutger is now gone. Harrison Ford, still going strong, you know. Now, Rutger Hauer was working up until the last moment. There's many films of his and stuff that's in post-production right now, so he was busy right till the last minute, really. And but what a genius actor. Genius, because remember the ad campaign for Guinness? Pint of Guinness, and he had Rutger with his blonde hair, all dressed in black. Pure genius. He was the human embodiment of a pint of Guinness. Cool and fantastically awesome. And good for you. But of course, what's playing behind me now? I've put a little playlist together of some of his greatest hits from his movies. So naturally we have Blade Runner here. Replicants, you know, Roy Batty, his phenomenal speech at the end. The twisted, tortured, you know, replicant, longing to meet his creator, longing for what we all want, more life, fucker, you know. And it's a tremendously powerful performance, which really made that film. The film is perfection anyway. A masterpiece from Ridley Scott, visually, technically, performance-wise, story-wise. It's endlessly, you know, layers upon layers of depth and quality. But Rutger Hauer shines throughout that. As Sebastian says, no, as his creator says, Tyrell says, and you have shone so very brightly. It's just a majestic bit of movie making and a performance that just, it's immortal. His performance achieves what Roy Batty couldn't, immortality. But of course, he'd done many other things too. He starred opposite Stallone. He was Wolfgar in the anti-terrorist movie Nighthawks. I've got a bit of that music coming up as well. In fact, let's get on to that now, because there's a classic scene where this Aryan blonde terrorist, who's a bit of a psycho anyway, he's got his own agenda. And like Deke De Silva, which is Stallone, is tasked. He forms a new task group, the NYPD, run by British Secret Service or something, to try and catch Wolfgar, who's been planting bombs and assassinating people all over the show. Stallone, as Deke De Silva, spots him in a nightclub, and it's a great scene because Rutger Hauer is dancing around with some girl, being dead cool and putting the moves on, but you know he's going to use her to get an apartment, and then he's going to kill her. He's done it before, and somewhere to house all his weapons and stuff. But the two of them, where is it now? It's from Keith Emerson, from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Rutger's doing the stuff, disco lights. He's having fun, and Stallone and his eyes meet across this crowded sort of dance floor. Not in that kind of way. And like Rutger does this great move. He's with this girl, spots him, looks away again, looks back, makes sure, yeah, you're looking at me, and I think I know who you are. Looks at the girl again, and when his face comes back, it's like stone, and he's gonna kill. And a big shootout takes place. But it's a bit where Rutger's doing a bit of, you know, bit of groove, getting his groove thang on, you know. It's just awesome. Rutger was always awesome in movies. In later life, he would go into like a lot of, he was playing aged kings in like The Last Kingdom and stuff, you know. And he had a face for that. And as he got older and he got more grizzled, those eyes still retained that icy, you know, cool depth to them. Rutger, you know, this is for you. I hope you appreciate it. Of course, for Paul Verhoeven, he'd already starred in Soldier of Orange, and Paul Verhoeven, Robocop, Total Recall, both of them came from Holland and made their name in Hollywood. And with Rutger, he went on to Flesh and Blood. Let's have a blast of Flesh and Blood. With a great main theme, great soundtrack by Basil Polidoris, who had done Conan the Barbarian and would do Robocop for Paul Verhoeven. This is just tremendous. He plays Martin, who is the leader of a mercenary gang of sort of land-loving buccaneers rampaging around medieval, Europe, and they get set up and betrayed by their employer. So getting revenge, they kidnap his daughter. They kidnap the daughter. No, they kidnap the girl that his son is about to marry. I'll get this right. And of course, Martin, Rutger Hauer, and it's Jennifer Jason Leigh. Connection again in a minute. They fall in love. Bizarrely, because he rapes her as well at one stage. I mean, the depiction of there's a kind of swashbuckling quality to this soundtrack, and the film has elements of that, but it also depicts the medieval times as very cruel and violent and amoral, which of course they were. Rutger, your eternal spirit. And he's great in that as well. He has a sense of fun, a sense of camaraderie and banter with his mercenary group. But also you can see how he melts with Jennifer Jason Leigh. He would also be in Lady Hawk, but the less said about that the better. I know it's got its fans, but I am not one of them. He would also be in The Hitcher, as playing this semi-satanic hitchhiker from hell, John Ryder, who terrorises and plays rogue games with poor young C. Thomas Howell, all the way across Arizona and Utah or whatever. And what's wrong with him? C. Thomas Howell says about this car pulled up on the side of the highway. Oh, he's not going anywhere. Why's that then? Well, I cut off his arms, his legs, and his head, and I'm going to do the same to you. And poor Thomas Howell's like that, and it's like, ah! Fantastic film, badly remade with Sean Bean, very badly remade, but a classic action thriller. And Rutger again, so he's charismatic. There's something about him, even though he does some nightmarish things. Poor old Jennifer Jason Leigh, who we starred with in Flesh and Blood. Let's go back onto I'm Your Man. Let's go on to, this is The Hitcher now, Mark Isham's score for Hitcher. And he has Jennifer Jason Leigh, chained up between two trucks, two semis, and he's revving the engine, and he's going to have her pulled in half. And he does it as well. Oh boy! He's a mean old bastard. And the way he manages to get out of the police station as well is a tremendous sequence, because you don't see it happen. You just don't see it happen. See, Thomas Howell, the cops have all now finally believed him, because they all thought he was doing the string of murders on the highway. Now they realise, no, it's Rutger Hauer. And then we're going to let him go. Anyone can see that kid didn't do those killings. I know. Next thing you know, see Thomas Howell wakes up, his cell doors open, and you can hear the sound of licking. Yeah, licking. And when it goes out, there's a police dog, gorgeous German Shepherd, licking the blood from the severed throat of a deputy, because Rutger Hauer's been in there, killed everyone, and has now set his nemesis free for the final end game, which is what's playing here. And it's just, again, he brings this quality of otherworldliness, which Roy Batty in Blade Runner had. He would also do a slew of sci-fi movies which were low budget and, inevitable, like Salute of the Jugger, which I do believe we have here as well, which was like a futuristic sort of, we're in the wasteland, and it's a bit of a version of Mad Max meets Rollerball. You have this ridiculous game, this ridiculous arena, and Rutger Hauer and Joan Chen are journeying across this wasteland, entering these games and laying waste to all comers. And Rutger Hauer does a great job in it. It's a bit of a sleazy, poor, crass movie. It's got its fans, and I can see why. I do enjoy it, but I just don't think it's very good, But he's electrifying in it. Also, he would be in Split Second, which was a ramshackle movie set in like a flooded London in the near future. And you've got this bizarre alien creature which has a psychic connection to Rutger Hauer's crusty cigarette smoking, bloody whiskey and fucking beer and coffee swilling jaded detective with ridiculous sunglasses on when it's pitch black half the time, and it's going out ripping the hearts out of people. Kim Cattrall is in it as well, looking rather ridiculous with a jet black bob. She doesn't suit that at all. And he's not afraid to be portly. Like Steven Seagal tries to hide the fact that he's a fat twat by wearing great big bloody coats on him and like just doing hand stuff because he can't lift his legs up anymore. Rutger Hauer didn't give a toss. He wore leather jeans, great big boots, a vest, braces, and his pot belly sticking over, and he doesn't give a shit. And I love that about him. He sends himself up in that something chronic. He would also be in more recent times, Hobo with a Shotgun. If you haven't seen that, I'm not going to say too much about it, but it is uber violent, uber clever, exceptionally inventive. It's got phenomenal amounts of blood and gore in it. He's a homeless guy who just wants a TV, but in this sort of maelstrom of urban decay and lawlessness, he gets embroiled in gang warfare and he gets his revenge. He becomes the hobo with the shotgun, and you will not believe the levels of gratuitous violence this film goes to. He would also star opposite Gene Simmons from Kiss in Wanted Dead or Alive, where he plays a bounty hunter. Great poster where he's got a fucking big auto shotgun over his shoulder like that. His blonde hair, a blue-black leather trench coat on, like weaponry all around him. He's cool. It's famous as well because he puts a hand grenade in Gene Simmons' mouth, pulls the pin, stand back, kaboof! I mean, Gene Simmons is famous for them big lips from Kiss, and the tongue and all that kind of stuff. Like, poof! They're blown to all four winds. But forever, he will be Roy Batty. So, let's get on to this. Where is it now? This is the end.
I've seen things people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire often show them alive. I watched sea beams glittering down 10,000 feet. All those moments lost in time, like tears.
Time to die. One of the most beautiful conclusions to one of the most clever and intelligent movies ever made. So full of ideas, so full of beauty, brutality, violence, revelation, possibility. Vangelis's immortal soundtrack playing there. They've just had a massive duel. Roy Batty and Harrison Ford's Blade Runner, Replicant Hunter, Deckard, who we all know, he's a replicant too. Aye. Sorry, I hastily threw this together because, I couldn't let a day in work go by without some kind of recognition of Rutger Hauer and his amazing artistry and integrity. Anyone who can play a cyborg, a satanic hitcher from hell, a land-loving buccaneer, a hobo with a shotgun, and drink Guinness as well, you're okay in my book. You know? So that's a little sort of whistle-stop tour through some of his greatest hits, as it were. Again, I've said it before in other obituaries that I've done. These people are with us for so long that you just don't think they're ever going to go. And when they do, even though you've never met Rutger Hauer, it's a crushing blow. It genuinely is. The guy was still busy, still working. He still could have had lots of great stuff coming out. And now, like tears in the rain, those moments aren't going to happen. Folks, this is only brief because I've got to get ready and go to work. But I couldn't let a day go by, a full day in work, mulling this over. I just wanted to get something out there now because Rutger Hauer, you're one of the defining moments of cinema, defining elements of cinema, some of the most everlasting characters you've created, and they will never die. In our hearts and minds, you'll never die. Rutger Hauer. I'll be seeing you, Rutger. Laters. Have fun, folks.